Yo, so a lot has happened since the last video. Hasn't been easy, man. It hasn't been easy. January and February have been quite stressful months, very, very stressful months, because performance has been pretty bad. Performance hasn't been very good, and the brand at the moment is a bit on a knife edge. What I mean by that is because because I made bad business decisions and wasted money on things that I shouldn't have, and two, I never really built any just reserve cash in the bank to act as a bit of a cushion for bad periods because I made bad decisions. The brand's on a knife edge in terms of being able to continue going. Now, I will fight tooth and nail to ensure that the brand survives and the brand keeps going. But it has been stressful. It has been stressful, man. But I think that's a good and a bad thing. I think when there are times of great challenge like this, it kind of acts as a pressure pushing on you from one direction and kind of pushing you to, from a want of not wanting to fail, pushing you to improve and overcome those challenges. And man, that is exactly what I've been doing over the past month and a half. Over January and February, I have been looking at every single area of the business and looking at how I can greatly improve it. And I have a plan for every single area to improve greatly. And when I say every area, I mean every area: website, ads, design, product showcasing with modeling photos, product pictures, how I want to improve the website pictures, how I want to improve the content, even down to the theme and styling of my designs. There's so many areas that I'm planning to improve, so I'll tell you about some of them now. So the first thing is, I made some changes to the website recently. The website was previously mainly just showcasing product, but because I've got such a focus on content now, in terms of lookbooks, product photography, modeling photography, I want to display those images. So the website now showcases more images to kind of sell the brand in a nicer way, rather than just product pictures, showing some more on-body shots, some of the nice editorial stuff that I've done. Those are some improvements I've made to the website. Now I've got loads of plans to make lots of improvements to content in terms of filming a lot more video content of filming the product flat laid on the floor, filming it on models. I'm going to be posting on TikTok and Reels and Pinterest, obviously posting all of the videos on there, and just massively improving my organic strategy, basically. I'm massively improving my organic content strategy, because I never really did that previously. I didn't give much focus to the organic. It was all kind of geared towards ads and focusing on how I can improve the ads so much, and I never really did video content, didn't really post much modeling content. Yeah, so I never gave much focus to the organic side of things, simply because I didn't necessarily have I was focusing on a lot of other areas, and I was there will be an opportunity to get to that once these other areas have been improved. And now that there's so much pressure and performance isn't great, and I now have much more of a reason to look in a direction and try and improve it and move reliance away from advertising in terms of paid media. So I'm going to be improving my organic massively. Another thing I've done was I've basically flipped my ad account upside down, completely changed the structure of my ad account. Not changed it, but just improved it. And the thing that I'm most excited for, one of the things, is designing. I'm going to be focusing on improving my designs a lot, making my designs I feel like it's an area that I neglected for a really long time, as I said previously. And it's one that I'm going to be focusing on a lot more. Significantly more, because why do people purchase from a brand? People buy because your product is unique and your product is cool. And without good product, you can have the best everything else. But if your product sucks, that's only going to get you so far. And people are just going to lose interest. And for me, one thing I've kind of decided is like, I don't necessarily care all that much about the financial side of things anymore. Because things have been very, very, like, performance hasn't been very good recently. I'll be very honest. Performance has been poor over January and February, and it has been incredibly stressful for me. Because you feel like everything you're doing, you feel like nothing's working. You're putting all of this work in so many areas, and it just feels like nothing is working. And then obviously when you go on Instagram, you see all these other people who look like they're having amazing success, and it just makes you feel like nothing I'm doing is working. What's the point? But the pressure of that has made me look at all of the areas of the brand that need improvement and go, yeah, there are a lot of areas that can be a lot better. And the designs is one of them, because a lot of these brands on Instagram have amazing designs. And moving to Mars, designs currently aren't necessarily on the same level. So it's time to bring them up to the same level. So I intend to release my first cut and sew pieces this year. Cut and sew being fully customized pieces with custom details and, you know, things along those lines. And I intend to release my first fully custom cut and sew pieces over the course of this year. Now, I'm really excited for that, because that's when you get to really be creatively free. And as I was saying previously, my new priorities, the things I care about most, are stability and creative freedom. I want to have the creative freedom to be able to make whatever I like and just keep challenging myself creatively. You can't do that with some sort of financial stability. So once I attain a level of financial stability and get to like a certain level of revenue for the business, I'm probably just going to hold there for the foreseeable future, because when you try and scale things up more and more, there's just more problems that come with it. There are more challenges that come with it. It becomes such a headache. And to be honest, I don't care for it. I don't want it. I just want to have a simple life where I just make cool product in the style that I want to make it, making a good amount of money, and just feeling like some sense of security, you know, because like with how this recent period has been, it's just made me value peace, like peace of mind, just peace, you know, being stable and being able to just be as creative as you like. Because when you're stressed and you're trying to do when you're stressed from external pressures and you're trying to do creative endeavors, it can be very difficult. It can be really difficult to let that creative side flow, because you're thinking about so many other things and you're worried about if you can even continue doing what you're doing. Yeah, so I like recently I've had kind of a bit of a change in priorities in terms of what I want to do with the brand. Now, something I want to tell you guys, I want to tell you how I deal with periods of great stress, when it feels like nothing is working and it feels like it feels like you're this close to failing and things collapsing on top of you. Now, when you're doing business and you're selling things through Shopify, it's really, really easy And even if you're doing any other project, it's really easy to see the stats of what's going on. Like, it's very easy to see the engagement on Instagram, see the sales figures on Shopify, see the sales figures on Ads Manager. Like, it's really easy to see them immediately as soon as you want to see them. Now, when things are like in a time of stress, it's really important to have a time for working. And when you're not in that allocated time for working, so we'll just give the standard example of 9 to 5. So you've allocated, you want to work from 9 till 5. Don't look at anything to do with it outside of those time frames. It's really important to be able to remove yourself from it, take yourself out of it, because constantly just like constantly thinking about it and constantly worrying about it and it constantly being on your mind, it just ruins your mood for everything else. And it feels like it consumes your entire life. And it's so unhealthy to be in a position like that, to allow it to affect you like that. It's really unhealthy because it just takes the joy out of everything, especially if things aren't going well. Obviously, when things are going good, it makes you feel good. But I think it's still bad when things are going well to be constantly looking at performance, because what happens then is your mood and how you feel about yourself and your confidence and just basically how you go about how you perceive the day is all decided by the performance of like your business or the performance of your project. And that's super unhealthy because you're now attaching your emotion and your mental state and your emotional state to something external, and you're taking control away from yourself. So you have to learn to be completely, this is something that I've found that I've had to learn for dealing with moving to Mars, is you have to be emotionally unreactive in times of good and times of bad. Yeah, and one thing I found for me, especially recently, well, it's been probably the most stressful period I've ever had, is not like over the weekend, for example, when I don't work. Don't look at it at all. I'm not looking at Facebook. I'm not looking at Instagram. I'm not looking at my Shopify sales. Nothing. I'm trying my best to not think about it at all. Distract myself. Play games on my phone. Go out and see friends. You know? And it's helped a lot, man. It has really helped a lot because I'll be honest, I have cried like multiple times last week because of how things are at the moment, because it feels like things have gotten on top of me and I just kind of needed that emotional release. And learning to manage the stress is so important for being able to make good decisions and being able to look at things logically and not being emotionally reactive to things, because when it comes to business, emotional decisions will destroy you. You have to be logical with things. You have to look at, this is the best way to do this thing. This is the best way to get to my goal. You can't be emotionally reactive. So you have to be able to, set it to one side. Now, the process of kind of like you recognized, all right, things are pretty bad right now. This isn't where I want to be. You have to look at the areas where there may be potential weakness, and you have to look at how can I improve them? What are things I can do to make them better? And look at it for each of the areas. And then when you have an idea of how to make the thing better, you then have to make a plan of what do I do to get to that position, and then you act upon that plan. Now, these things take time. Do you know what I mean? It's like you might identify the areas on day one, put things into action, but you're not going to see anything until day 65. Something you might see results on day 20, but everything has a bit of a lag when it comes to like making improvements, and that's not necessarily just for business, that's like in life as well. You identify something that you're not necessarily happy with, you recognize that, you go, where do I kind of want to be, and then how do I get to that point, and then you start taking steps to get to that point. And it's kind of the 1% rule, isn't it? Like 1% a day. you get a better 1% a day, and because of compounding interest, you've gotten however much percentage, way bigger, better, like way more, if you get what I'm saying. And yeah, that's kind of the process of, like, to be honest, it's the process I adopt to anything in my life, really. Like, I look at where I am now, where I want to be, and how I can get there to improve it. And especially in times of stress, it makes it very apparent that there's something that needs changing. If you're kind of in that sort of position right now, at anything in your life or whatever you're doing, and you're feeling stressed because things aren't going how you want to go, that's a good thing, because it's your body telling you this needs to change. There's a challenge here that needs to be tackled and improved to get to where I want to get to. It's a good thing. Now, when you're in the moment and you're feeling that stress, it is not a good thing at all. It feels like the worst thing in the world, actually. It feels horrible. Like, it feels horrid. And it's scary. It's really scary when you recognise that things just are not going how you want them to go. But it's one of them where it's like a blessing in disguise, because it reveals to you that there is something that needs improving. And who knows if I would have made all of those improvements, or identified all those areas of weakness and enacted improvements, if I didn't have this pressure of poor performance. I don't necessarily know if I would have. So in the long term, it's a good thing, and I feel thankful for the challenges that I get to face. It's easy saying it, now that I'm kind of, I'm not out of it yet, but I feel better because I have a path forwards, which that is insanely important in itself as well. Having like a clear path that you've worked out in front of you brings great comfort, because you know at least some action is being taken to make improvements. But it's like blessing in disguise kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of like how I look at it anyway. It's I feel very, very fortunate to have the challenges and to have been shown this, because now I think I've improved the brand in such a short period of time. The improvements haven't started, but I've made plans to make all of these improvements that will, I feel like, bring the brand up to I feel like I've managed to set the plan in work to bring the brand to a whole nother level, and I'm really, really excited to get started. Now, something else that I'm actually really excited to showcase is I had this idea a really long time ago for the brand called the Galactic Lounge. Now, the Galactic Lounge is available on the website now, and it's like it's kind of like a reward points area at the moment. For when you sign up, you make a purchase, you get points, you can use them for discounts. Now, the idea for the Galactic Lounge is always to make it more than just that, and now I'm going to. So all releases going forwards will be kind of split into two. There will be general release items, which will be more like logo based, generally 1 to 2 print areas, fairly more simple designs, building out existing collections. And then there will be Galactic Lounge member exclusive items, which will be the majority of the items that release. I'm not sure exactly how many. I'm thinking 2 to 3 general release items, and then 6 to 7 Galactic Lounge exclusive items that will be available to Galactic Lounge members exclusively via password. Now, this coincides really well with my design improvements, because it means that the designs offered are going to be a lot nicer, and then the cut and sew designs as well, and they'll be limited as well. Anything on the Galactic Lounge store will be limited to a certain number of units, and will refresh after every 30 days. The whole store will refresh after 30 days. So everything on the Galactic Lounge store will be limited, accessible via password only to Galactic Lounge members in either the email list or an exclusive WhatsApp channel. And I'm going to theme it as almost like a underground exclusive cyberpunk like club lounge kind of thing. The slogan's going to be the most exclusive lounge in the cosmos, to fit the whole space theme. And I just feel like it's a really nice foundation to kind of set the brand apart and make something unique. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited to kind of get started on it, as well as show you guys all of the other improvements and things that I have coming. Yeah, very, very excited to show you all of that. But yeah, I hope anything in this video could be of value to you. I'm still learning every day, honestly. I'm still learning as I go along and figuring things out as I go along. And this is why I wanted to make these videos, so I could share those learnings with you, because this has been a very stressful time for me, and I've been learning how to deal with that stress. And it's also made me even completely change like my main goals of now being creative freedom and stability. It's all I want. I don't give a fuck about being a millionaire anymore. I really don't care. But yeah, just if you are going through time of stress, you're not on your own. It's hard. Look for areas to improve. Make a plan to improve in those areas, and trust the process, and try and take yourself out of it when you're not in those specific work hours.